Ethics is not merely an abstract concept in economics. It is a fundamental necessity for achieving lasting stability, fostering sustainable growth, and ensuring social cohesion within any economic system. Without a robust ethical framework, economic progress often proves fleeting and fragile. This perspective bridges classical wisdom with modern economic realities. Thinkers like Ibn Khaldun, Al-Ghazali, and Farabi long recognized the moral underpinnings required for a flourishing society. Their insights remain profoundly relevant in today's complex global economy. The ethics of transactions demands unwavering honesty, complete transparency, and fair dealing among all participants. This principle forms the bedrock of trust in any market. Without it, economic interactions become fraught with risk and suspicion. Practical applications include clear disclosure requirements for products and services. It also means actively avoiding deceptive practices and ensuring robust accounting standards. Reliable communication of risks is equally vital for informed decision-making. The ethics of distribution emphasizes fairness in both opportunity and outcome. It recognizes that economic systems must provide a reasonable chance for all individuals to participate and benefit. This dimension addresses the inherent inequalities that can arise from market forces. Practical applications involve progressive taxation systems and robust social safety nets. Anti-corruption measures are also crucial to prevent illicit enrichment and ensure resources benefit the wider populace. The ultimate goal is equitable access to essential services and markets for everyone. Corporate responsibility encompasses strong corporate governance, environmental stewardship, and the protection of workers' rights. It extends beyond mere compliance to proactive engagement with societal well-being. This includes fostering responsible innovation that considers broader impacts. Such responsibility reduces negative externalities, like pollution or social unrest. It also builds long-term profitability by cultivating trust among consumers, employees, and investors. Ethical corporations are often more resilient and sustainable. The ethics of public policy requires integrity in budgeting and a commitment to evidence-based policymaking. Decisions must be grounded in data and sound analysis, not short-term political expediency. This ensures resources are allocated effectively. It also demands robust accountability mechanisms for public officials and institutions. Policies must align short-term actions with long-term societal welfare. This forward-looking approach safeguards future generations and promotes enduring prosperity. Neglecting ethical dimensions inevitably leads to economic crises and instability. When trust erodes, credit dries up, and investment contracts fail to materialize. Markets cannot function efficiently without a foundational level of confidence. Without trust, the very fabric of economic exchange begins to unravel. This creates an environment ripe for speculation and panic, rather than productive investment. The long-term consequences are severe and far-reaching. Market distortion and volatility are direct results of ethical lapses. Corruption and fraud distort prices, misallocating resources to unproductive or harmful ventures. This creates artificial bubbles and subsequent busts. Such distortions prevent markets from accurately reflecting true supply and demand. They undermine fair competition and penalize honest actors. The entire economic system becomes less efficient and more prone to shocks. The erosion of the social contract occurs when extreme inequality and perceived injustice become widespread. When a significant portion of the population feels unfairly treated, societal cohesion weakens. This fuels political and economic volatility. A broken social contract can manifest as civil unrest, decreased productivity, and a lack of faith in institutions. It undermines the collective effort required for sustained economic development. Trust in governance and economic systems diminishes. Ignoring ethics amplifies systemic risk, particularly in financial markets. Reckless risk-taking, often driven by short-term incentives, can lead to widespread financial hazards. These risks are frequently mispriced or hidden. This creates mispriced externalities, where the true cost of economic activities is not borne by those who generate them. The accumulation of such unaddressed risks can trigger cascading failures across the entire system. The 2008 financial crisis stands as a stark reminder of the perils of ethical neglect. It exposed the systemic risks inherent in opaque financial instruments, misaligned incentives, and weak governance structures. The consequences reverberated globally. This crisis highlighted how a lack of transparency and accountability can destabilize entire economies. It underscored the critical need for ethical oversight in complex financial systems. Lessons from this period continue to inform policy debates. Contemporary debates frequently center on corporate responsibility and ESG disclosures. Investors and consumers increasingly demand that companies demonstrate ethical practices. This reflects a growing awareness of broader societal impacts. There is also a significant focus on the role of state capacity in enforcing ethical standards. Effective regulation and oversight are crucial for preventing market failures and protecting public interest. Strong institutions are indispensable. Tools for risk mitigation and growth include open data initiatives and transparent procurement processes. These measures reduce opportunities for corruption and increase public scrutiny. They foster greater accountability. Anti-corruption reforms are vital for dampening systemic risk and fostering inclusive growth. By ensuring fair competition and resource allocation, these tools create a more stable and equitable economic environment. They build confidence in the system. For individuals, cultivating financial literacy is paramount. Understanding economic principles empowers citizens to make informed decisions and demand transparent information. This fosters a more discerning and responsible consumer base. Practicing ethical consumerism and advocating for fair employment conditions also contributes significantly. Individual choices collectively shape market demand and corporate behavior. Every decision has an impact. For businesses, adopting ethical charters and implementing whistleblower protections are crucial steps. These internal mechanisms promote integrity and accountability within organizations. They create a culture of responsibility. Publishing accessible impact reports demonstrates a commitment to transparency and social responsibility. Aligning incentives with long-term value creation rather than short-term gains fosters sustainable growth. This benefits all stakeholders. For policymakers, strengthening regulatory frameworks and improving governance are essential. Robust regulations prevent abuses and ensure fair play. Effective governance builds public trust and confidence in institutions. Investing in education is a long-term strategy for fostering an ethical society. Designing redistributive mechanisms that foster innovation ensures equitable opportunities. These policies balance social welfare with economic dynamism. For communities, supporting local initiatives strengthens social bonds and economic resilience. Engaging with local businesses and organizations promotes shared values. This builds a sense of collective responsibility. Partnering with civil society to monitor public spending enhances accountability and transparency. Advocating for accountable leadership ensures that public resources are managed ethically and efficiently. Community involvement is key. Ethics profoundly influences key economic metrics. It impacts a nation's growth potential, productivity levels, and overall investment climate. A high-trust environment attracts capital and fosters innovation. Ethical considerations also directly affect social stability. Societies with strong ethical foundations tend to experience less conflict and greater cooperation. This creates a more predictable and favorable environment for economic activity. Integrating ethical principles into economic analysis is increasingly vital. Principles are translated into measurable metrics such as trust indices, governance quality scores, and transparency scores. Social mobility measures also reflect ethical outcomes. These metrics are then integrated into scenario planning and policy design. By considering ethical dimensions explicitly, economists and policymakers can develop more robust and sustainable strategies. This leads to more resilient economies. Ethics is not an add-on or an optional extra in economic theory and practice. It is fundamental to the very structure and function of a healthy economy. Without it, economic systems are inherently unstable and prone to failure. Aligning incentives with virtue leads to stable growth, resilient institutions, and a healthier society. An ethical approach ensures that economic progress serves the broader well-being of humanity. It is the cornerstone of enduring prosperity.